You're listening to Somewhat Frank with me, Frank Gruber. After working in the corporate world for a decade, I decided to blaze my own path by co-founding Tech Cocktail, which helped catalyze local startup communities and eventually turned into TechCo Media, a site which grew to millions of readers and was eventually acquired. Over the past decade, I've interviewed hundreds of entrepreneurs and thought leaders from some of the fastest growing and most successful companies in history. And along the way, I've learned amazing lessons from my experiences. So we're going to talk about startups, tech, innovation, and their intersection with personal life, and anything else on Frank Gruber's mind. So let's get started being Somewhat Frank. Somewhat Frank is produced with the help of Established, my new company. Hey everybody, welcome back. I'm Somewhat Frank. It's the Somewhat Frank podcast. I'm joined today by my good friend and longtime friend and fellow UFO hunter, Johnny Good Times Guidos. How are you doing today?
I'm amazing, Frank. Thanks for asking. I'm excited. We're into May. The weather's finally turning, and so that we can enjoy the outside a little bit. Social distancing, of course.
Yes, keeping distance.
Yeah, I'm excited to be here. And, May always reminds me of my good friend Somewhat Frank's birthday, which is tomorrow.
That's true. I was born tomorrow.
Mm-hmm. Do you have any last-minute gift ideas for people that are out there watching?
No, just world peace mainly.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah, mostly drink to that. So I will drink to that. World peace.
You brought up a good point at the beginning of the episode here. Recently, I think the Pentagon released some UFO footage and basically said that they don't know what it is, which is big news. Well, it seems to have been kind of looked glazed over by everybody that's in the middle of the pandemic right now.
This is something that came out in 2017, I believe, and it was pushed really heavily by the former Senator Reid out in Nevada, and they'd seen this footage and they were trying to get it out, and it was denied that it was real, and all of a sudden here we are, 2020, when everything's going nuts in the world. They're releasing it officially, and so we've got this UFO footage released by the Pentagon, which ultimately confirms the fact that there are UFOs that we don't understand what they are, and there probably needs to be more maybe a little bit more investigation as to what this unidentified flying object is.
Well, the scariest thing about it, or the most interesting thing about it for me is, it's one thing to have somebody go online and say they saw a UFO, which could be various different things, or influenced by what's going on in their lives, or influenced by other things, right? But when you see these top world's best fighter pilots that are out there and they're commentating on the film, that they have no idea what these things are, it's kind of creepy. And yeah, I don't know. Have you watched the video itself?
Yeah, no, you can tell that these guys are in shock as to what they're seeing. They fly a lot, and they're just like, "Wow, what is this?"
Right, and it's
not moving normally.
It doesn't seem to be like any cloud or piece of ice I've ever seen. I don't know about you.
Yeah, I've never seen anything like it, so it's interesting. If you haven't checked it out, go check out the. All you have to do is you can look at this at our somewhat frequent newsletter. Which, if you're not a subscriber, you can go subscribe at frankgruber.me/newsletter. There's an article in there. It's about UFO footage by the Pentagon, or you can just go to your friend Google and just type it in, UFOs Pentagon video, and you'll find it right away.
Yeah, I haven't talked to Google in a while. I should probably give them a call. We got to follow you
I
out.
call them all the time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. You got to follow out.
Well, let's get rolling. As all of our listeners know on your podcast here, what you like to do is you like to celebrate the good things that are going on and the people in your network. And so what's going on? What have you heard recently?
What's good? Well, we've got a lot going on. Logan LaHive, who was at a company called Belly before.
Yeah, Logan, based out of Chicago, formerly of Belly. Good, really good guy. And I met him years ago.
Yeah, and then he was at Techstars for a while running that program. And just this past year, he's kind of been, doing something stealthy, and turns out it's called Frank, which is amazing naming. I love it. So if you go to getfrank.com, you can find out more about what it is and what he's been up to. But he's got a new company, so that's exciting. He's a doer, and I'm excited to see how that goes. Also, we've got one that's been blowing up on the internet in general is Sarah Cooper, who I met years ago in Silicon Valley. She was at, I believe it was Yahoo and Google at the time, or stints at both of those, and she's on TikTok, and she's doing some comedic videos. She's a comedian now. She's
nice.
Yeah, she's been on TikTok doing these videos, and then she's brought them over to Twitter, and they've gotten millions of views. They've been on mentioned on like Colbert and other different, they've just had millions and millions of people view them, and they're basically she's doing the voiceover is the current president, and then she just kind of acts out what he's doing as he's saying these things, and it's pretty funny. So check it out if you get a chance. Need a little comic relief.
Sure. Have you gotten into TikTok? What do you think?
I am not a TikToker, but I've seen a lot of people TikToking, and I don't know. I think I need to work on my dance moves. I'm not really sure how I'm going to make that work. Yeah, right. Maybe we should do our next episode on TikTok. I don't know what that would look like, but we could figure it out. Like maybe this could all be a dance. Not really sure. Yeah. So so we've also got this new project. Alex Iskold, he's got a fund. He's a venture capitalist, and he started this new project called 1K Project. It's at 1kproject.org. And he's basically, during the pandemic, people are obviously in need. There's a lot of people. There's 30 million people out of jobs right now, unemployment. That's like record setting unemployment in this country. And so he started this project where he's basically helping through peer-to-peer networking, peer-to-peer networks. He's basically getting $1,000 a month for 3 months to different families in need. So just trying to help pick up some of these families that are maybe they're in retail, or maybe they have a restaurant, or maybe they're now unemployed or whatever, and trying to help them get through it. So that's pretty cool. So check that out.
That's great.
Yeah. So let's see what else. So I'm back in the day in 2005, 2006, I was a TechCrunch contributor, and I was one of the first TechCrunch contributors. So when it was just Michael Arrington working out of his house in Atherton, California, and just pounding out content, I came in and did some of the larger pieces for him, just for a side hustle. I wasn't getting paid. It was just a fun thing I did. And they ended up being really popular, and reviewed like different categories. And anyway, long story short, I love to see that tech crunchers are continuing to do well. Obviously, TechCrunch has done really well and growing, and continue to be something that people know and recognize globally. Anyway, one of their former editors, Josh Constine. He just left to go be a VC. So you're kind of seeing this trend of like people writing at TechCrunch and then becoming VCs. So that's kind of cool to see that, and all the alumni doing well.
Right. Well, it makes sense, right? Because they would have most insight knowledge of a lot of deal flow and companies that are doing great things. So that's good for Josh.
Yep. And then Max Wessel, he is at SAP. He's a part of Next Gen Venture Partners, which we're a part of as well. Both Jen and I are venture partners there. It's a fund, and he got a chance to interview Malcolm Gladwell, so that's pretty cool. So it's a nice interview that SAP just started this like interview series, and he's part of it, and he's their chief information officer over there. So he's doing some cool stuff. We work with AFWorks and AF Ventures quite a bit for Established, and Joey Aroro, he's one of our points of contacts out there, and he's an amazing guy. He just was on the Keystone podcast. So another podcast out there, if you're not following it, it's about ecosystem development. And he just was interviewed for an episode there. And you go check out how entrepreneurs can get connected and get contracts with the Air Force, which there's a lot of opportunity there right now. A lot of it right now is focused on COVID-19 and the response to COVID-19, because everyone's kind of joined the fight. There's just a lot of impact right now in the world, so they're trying to leverage the resources to help. So check out that podcast. You can learn some more. And our good old friend from DC, Rohit Bhargava, has another book out. He's just a book writing machine. I think I gave him some comments for this book. I don't know if they ended up in the book or not, but he basically wrote a book about working from home and virtual work. And so it's like a free guide to. Right now it's free if you go to Amazon. If you look up the no nonsense or non-obvious guide to virtual work, I think it's called, sure. Or virtual work. I think you can go get it, and the link's obviously in the newsletter as well if you aren't subscribed. So
it's pretty good.
A lot of good stuff happening. A lot of very good timing. He pumped that out in like a month or less, and he owns a publishing company. He's written a bunch of books, so he's able to get it out pretty quickly. It's out on Amazon, so check it out. It's free. What could be better?
I will check it out, because I'll tell you what, you think you have all a good structure and good practices when you're working from home, but it starts to slack after a little bit, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I like the business up top right now, but I'll tell you what, I'm wearing Nike shorts right now.
Well, no, I mean, look at this. I've got a hat on. Usually I would not be looking like this for any kind of situation, but to be honest with you, I cut my hair last weekend. not going to say I did a great job, didn't do a terrible job, but it's just not, it's not what I normally be used to.
You don't want to show it off right now?
Not right now, but
okay.
I'm thinking if it was summer, as summer gets going, I may have to like buzz it off or something. I don't know. We'll see. I know that the local barbershop's open. I'm just not really game on going in there and sitting for 30 minutes with my mask on yet. So
risk isn't worth the reward, buddy. You look fantastic.
No, thank you.
Put on a 3 guard and just do the whole thing when the weather gets nice.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Or an 8 guard.
For sure.
I think so that's all the good stuff happening. I think a lot more obviously happening that I didn't mention, but a lot of people are keeping things going with the current situation.
Sure. Now, I know you're an avid reader, as I am as well. You've been reading anything recently? I just real quick, I'm a big Malcolm Gladwell guy myself. Yeah. I think he's going to write an entire book after this pandemic's over because of all the statistical economics that you can drive from it, right? But I've recently been reading, and I'm almost finished his Talking to Strangers book, his most recent book that he's
I have
released.
That. Yeah, I got to finish that one. I started it and I stopped. I don't know why I stopped.
It's really good, man. I'll tell you, I'm a lifelong Penn State fan, and there's a chapter on the Jerry Sandusky investigation and trial, and I don't think that he's a proponent or pushes for Jerry Sandusky's innocence by any means, but when you read it, it really makes you think about what would you, if you were one of the participants, right, in that whole situation, what you would have done and what you would have reported and the information that was available out there and so forth and so on. I mean, we all would like to think that we're perfect angels and we would have done exactly what people are saying that everyone should have done in hindsight, but it really, really makes you think about different angles and different sides of the story in that one.
And how to handle the situation.
Right, exactly. So what have you been reading?
Lots of stuff. We've got, like a lot of articles. I mean, there's an article about, let's see, llamas. I love llamas, as you know.
I know.
And alpacas as well. And they apparently might, their antibodies might be something that could help, come up with some kind of a cure for, I'm not even making this up.
Seriously?
It's in the New York Times, yeah. There's an article called Hoping Llamas Will Become Coronavirus Heroes, and it's about how their antibodies they're being tested to see if they can help us in some way with coronavirus. So that's pretty cool.
Wow.
A lot of llama love. I hope the llamas can come to the rescue here. Speaking of which, I also have had an alpaca spit directly in my mouth before, so I'm hoping that I'm totally fine now. Like if this is true and it's alpacas and llamas antibodies, I've had them in my mouth.
Come on,
not on purpose. Marley over in downtown Las Vegas, he got a little frisky with me once. He wasn't happy I didn't have any carrots directly in my mouth.
I think that could be the possible cure. He does have a line of people ready to get spit in their mouth by llamas. So
yeah, I mean that if it works, it works. I'm not going to argue with that. So.
Okay. What else have you been reading?
Well, I don't know how I can top that one. So we talked about UFOs already, and there actually is interestingly going to be a movie filmed up in the International Space Station. So I don't know if you saw it. Tom Cruise is going to be up there filming a movie, and that's never been done before. So that's pretty cool. The movie will literally be out of this world.
Well, he would be the one to do it. I know he does all his own stunts, and he's really into some of that stuff. So that'd be very interesting.
Yeah, I love watching his movies. He may be either an alien or maybe a robot. I don't know at this point.
Or a time traveler.
I don't know. He's just. I mean, he does all his stunts. He doesn't age. He's just like it's crazy. I mean, he just gets better and better. I feel like so.
Sure.
And now he's going to space, so that'll be really interesting. So yeah, they're going to shoot that movie. It's all over the internet if you search for that. Yeah, so let's see, what else? Did you sleep well last night by chance?
I've not been sleeping well lately at all.
Okay.
I think I started taking some new melatonin, and maybe it's goofy or something. I don't know, but I've just been having weird dreams. So I get up every morning at about 5 and just kind of roll around and then jam. Yeah. Yeah.
It's important. So try to get some sleep. I know like it's hard if you're like, obviously things are kind of crazy in the world, but they found obviously that sleep is one of the most important things you can do. And tech has eroded sleep, so I think that's the other thing. So turning off screens and like doing things to kind of try to separate yourself a little before bedtime is kind of one of the tips and tricks, I guess you could say. And I found that like lavender oil is pretty good. And I mentioned, I think in my last newsletter, this app called Moshi or Mashi app. Yep. It's a kids app, but it's amazing for people, any people, adults, whatever. I think they're using some kind of like sounds that make your rhythms kind of like fall asleep because I'm like I can't get through like one of them without passing out. So it's a pretty cool app out there as well if that's helpful.
Well, I'll definitely try that out because I need something. And look, it may just be the weather. So I don't know what the case may be, but the past few nights have been rough.
Yeah. Well, I got about 8 hours last night and I got about 10 the night before. So I made myself go to bed early the night before.
I'm really excited for your birthday, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
I hope you get all the presents you could ever imagine.
It's going to be weird this year.
It's supposed to be snow, right? You guys are supposed to get about a foot of snow up there or something?
So I'm up in Maine. It's supposed to be, nice today and then like all of a sudden be a nor'easter tomorrow, like between a dusting and 6 to 8 inches of snow in New England area. So we'll see. I've never had snow on my birthday ever, so that'll be kind of crazy. We'll see how that goes.
Well, you probably also haven't been up in Maine, right?
Yeah, I don't think I've ever been up here for my birthday. No, I mean, one of my favorite birthdays was my 40th, which was a couple of years ago. That was a lot of fun.
That was down in the
Grand Cayman. Yeah. Unfortunately, so I'm just gonna be looking at pictures of that probably this year, thinking about it.
That sounds good to me.
Yeah.
But we're running low on time here. But what have you been? Have you been watching anything lately while in quarantine?
Yeah, there's so much good content, but we've been really busy. I mean, work-wise, like we've been really busy, so I haven't had as much time to watch things. But the big one on the internet lately, and just in general, has been The Last Dance. So I was a huge Chicago Bulls fan back in the 90s, and watching Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen play was pretty phenomenal. And obviously there's a new docu-series on ESPN called The Last Dance, and it's already taken over the Tiger King as far as the most popular docu-series in history. So that's pretty cool.
That is pretty cool. And one thing that you and I chatted earlier, I'm pretty excited about was, coincidentally, Nike re-released the retro Jordan 5s, which, by the way, were the same pair of shoes in 8th grade that I begged my parents for, 7th or 8th grade. And I still have those shoes. I think they were kid size 9s or something like that. But last Saturday, I waited online, and I was able to secure and purchase the Jordan 5s, the re-releases. So I'm pretty excited about that.
That's pretty cool. So they re-released the same ones. That's pretty cool. Yeah, I want to get a pair of the red ones that are the original ones. I had a pair similar to that when I was I don't know if they were actually Jordans though. They might have been like the off-brand of Jordans when I was like Ashes. When I was in 5th grade or something, like like I had that version. But everyone thought they were Jordans because no one could read.
Yep,
it's fine. And to be honest with you, we all didn't really care about brands as much back then, anyway. So either way, the original Jordans would be cool to have. I know they're sold out a lot of places. I've been looking at them, but they're might be nice just to have and wear around when I'm feeling like being like Mike.
You can find them. Just keep a lookout. And I've turned into a little bit of a sneakerhead lately. I actually have a pair myself, and
nice.
One of my favorite pairs to wear. But anyways, we kind of digressed there. But why don't you tell everybody about our upcoming event that we have coming up?
Yeah, so we're going to be doing another live show from a number of different locations, but it'll be on the internet. And basically, we're going to be doing a focused Startup of the Year show and pitch competition focused on female founders. So if you're a female founder and you're watching and you want to apply, definitely do so. You can go to startupofyear.com or startupoftheyear.com. Either of those go to the same place, and you can find out more information about this upcoming event. But the event will be on May 28th at 1 p.m. You can RSVP for it and watch it live. And then we'll put it out later as a podcast as well. But the idea is we'll have 5 startups pitching to a great group of judges. We've got some amazing VCs coming on board. Jesse Draper and Phil Nadell, and I'm trying to think who else. A couple others are in the hopper. So we're excited about the folks that are joining us. And it'll be a great show. So it should be about an hour long. And I'll be hosting along with Jen Consavo. And then we'll also have these other folks joining us.
Celebrating, female founders is a huge initiative over at Establish and Startup of the Year. So pretty excited about it. It's
pretty cool. So we were able to take what we're used to be doing years ago, and basically now we're doing a lot of virtual stuff. And it's the whole COVID thing has kind of pushed us to be better at doing these virtual events, and everyone's kind of watching virtual events now. So it's changed us a little bit in that we're able to leverage technology and now get and reach more people and get more people involved, which is pretty exciting. So I'm excited for this next event. We're lining up other events too. So there'll be one in June, there'll be one in September, and another one in October. So be on the lookout as we'll be sharing those events out, and love to have you join and follow along. And we'll engage with you on the internet in the chat rooms or whatnot. It should be a lot of fun.
Oh yeah, I'm excited. And then it all culminates in our summit, which will be later this fall.
Yes, the summit's coming up. It's going to be virtual as well, so we'll be announcing those dates soon, probably November-ish
Pretty excited.
time frame. Oh, I got one question for you.
Go ahead.
Did you check out Upload yet?
No, I
on
haven't.
Amazon. Okay, so it's being promoted everywhere, but it's pretty cool. You'll probably watch it in like 2 days. If you want to binge watch something this weekend, it's on Amazon Prime. It's called Upload. It's done by the same, I think, guy that did The Office in the U.S. And so kind of quirky jokes and things like that are built in, but it's also a mystery. So
Ooh, I like mysteries.
yeah, and it's also sci-fi. So pretty cool setup. But the premise is that this guy ends up passing away, but then there's this new technology that allows you to get uploaded somewhere, and you live forever as an upload in a virtual world.
Oh, I understand that now. I bet you've heard about and read stories about that for years, about when that may, the convergence of all of that stuff. So it's very interesting. I know that I did recently watch the Parks and Recreation online episode Table Read. Yeah. That was a lot of fun. Yeah. It was good to see,
everyone back.
And Ansari came back, and Chris Pratt was there, and all these people that have gone on to have, become blockbuster movie stars come back to their roots and do a fun episode. I really, really enjoyed it.
Yes, I did too. And finally, I have been drinking mushroom tea today, quite a bit of it, and it just reminded me of one other article I recently reread about this person that created a mushroom canoe. So I don't know, I'd love to meet this person. I would love to get a mushroom canoe. I think it'd be pretty cool as long as it floats in the ocean or whatever here. And I think it'd be pretty cool to check that out. So there's an article about this one. It's like a single mushroom they've grown into like a canoe.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
I need to check that out.
So anyway, mushrooms are amazing things. Yeah, it's a big mushroom. Mushrooms, you can drink them, you can float them. A lot you can do with mushrooms, apparently. Anyway, I guess you can eat them too.
Awesome. Well, it was a pleasure joining you here again, Frank. And
yes.
Do you have anything to pitch at the end?
No, just thanks for following us and watching us there on the Instagram. All the love, a lot of love to everyone. Everyone stay safe out there and be well. And this was another Somewhat Frank episode. Thanks for joining us. Well, that's a wrap. Thanks so much for listening. This is Somewhat Frank, signing off. Frank Gruber. Oh, and don't forget, subscribe online, iTunes, SoundCloud, Android, wherever you can find it. Somewhat Frank Podcast. We'll be back soon with another episode. Thanks so much.